Hello and welcome to our first ever virtual staff meeting. I hope that this new format allows you to get the information that you need in our typical once a month meetings, but do it at a time and in a place that works best for you. Please be sure that each month you are taking, I'll try to keep them limited to 15 to 20 minutes so you don't have a big long thing to watch, but please be sure that you do take the time to be sure that you've gotten the information that you need so that you're well informed. On to new information. Mentors and mentees need to sign off on your PDPs by December 18th. So if you could please be sure that you and your mentee get together, go into McREL, and both of you do your sign off on your mid-year PDPs, then that will allow the administrator to go ahead and sign off on that, and that part will be done for the mid-year reviews. Also, I wanted to remind everyone that Castle Learning is back. Thank you to Jim Storch for helping us to get that back. And also a reminder that I sent an email yesterday regarding some new features of Castle Learning, so please be sure to access that link. Lots of great new information, including, again, a lot of new, highly correlated with the Common Core and essential standards, multiple choice and constructed response items, as well as the ability to construct tests and online tasks to supplement what you're doing in the classroom. Mid-quarter progress reports, remember, will go home next week. Please be sure that your grades are posted and current. And as a reminder about grades, please be sure that you are following the grading standards policies that are in your staff binder. They're in the informational section, which is that first tab of your staff binder. A couple reminders about grading policies that we should be making sure that we're adhering to. First, that your grades for each quarter should reflect a 4-to-1 ratio. So you should have, for every big unit assessment or major project grade that weighs 70%, you should have 4 informal grades to offset that. Also, just a reminder that we should be following the policy of 50 as the lowest grade unless there has been no effort on the part of a student, and those, as we look at grades, should not be a pervasive thing. Registration process, as a reminder to you, because of our conversion from NCWISE to the new Power School, our registration process for next year has been moved up dramatically. So we'll actually begin registration with an orientation to the registration cards and distribution beginning December 17th. Then from that point on until the holiday break, we'll be going ahead and doing registration for all students who currently have English. We'll be doing those personal registrations with the students' transcripts and pulling out of English classes during that time. And then for students who do not have English for semester, once we get back from the holidays, we'll complete our registration process for our existing students for next year's courses right after the holidays. Also, it is that time of year for us to all pitch in together and help with the grading of the 11th grade senior exit project papers. Those have all now been turned into Miss Lord. She will be assigning 2 people to grade sets of papers, so you'll be working with another staff member, another teacher. So each partner will be given from Miss Lord 2 to 4 papers to grade. She has a quick 6-minute video explaining the process and the requirements for grading those papers, and she'll be getting to you the link to access that. And in the envelope that has the 4 papers that you'll be assigned to grade, she has a rubric and very clear information on how to use that rubric to grade those papers. Our deadline for turning those in is December 20th, and those should be turned in to Miss Broom. Thank you for your support, allowing us to get an entire grade level graded in a fairly quick way and get feedback to students. Thank you. Next, I want to share with you some information around the 7 C's. The 7 C's are listed on the screen in front of you on the right side, and these are related to a very extensive national study that was done by Harvard University, and these 7 C's are highly correlated with highly effective classrooms and also in turn student achievement. These 7 C's form the foundation for questions that will be posed for students in the student surveys that will be coming out beginning this year and will be included in the measures of teacher effectiveness. So I wanted to begin to help you to be aware of what those 7 C's are and the implications for effective classrooms and effective student achievement. So the first screen that we're looking at helps you to see that each of those 7 C's is correlated to one of the standards in the North Carolina teacher evaluation system. So, for example, you can see that demonstrations of caring are highly correlated and would be evidenced in Standard 1 on your teacher evaluation. Using control in terms of a balanced classroom and having strong management can be found in Standard 2. Clarifying, and so in our language here at the school that would be the agenda, making sure that the CUDs are very clear for students and the teacher for a specific 90-minute period, use of an essential question that the students are responsible for answering as a way of demonstrating to the teacher and the students that learning has been successful during that 90-minute block for that day. That's highly correlated with many of the standards that are proficient and above in Standard 3 on your North Carolina evaluation instrument. And then level of challenge, captivating, and conferring, that relationship with students and that engagement with students are all highly correlated with Standard 4. And then consolidating information in a way that helps students to connect learning with old learning and to move it from new memory to long-term memory is reflected in Standard 5 of the evaluation instrument. This next slide shows, as it relates to those 7 C's, what the teacher does and how that is felt or experienced on the student end. So the way you would interpret this slide is that when the teacher does things that demonstrate caring about students, what the students feel is encouragement and emotional support. When the teacher takes the time to make sure that lessons are captivating for students, they're relevant, they're engaging, they move at a quick pace, what the students feel is that the teacher cares about making sure that lessons are interesting and relevant. When the teacher takes the time to create an atmosphere of mutual respect, which is defined as conferring with students, students sense that their ideas are respected and that they have a voice in the classroom. When the teacher takes time to be sure that learning goals for each lesson are very clear to all students, students feel like they can be successful. They can attain whatever is going to be expected of them at the end of that particular 90-minute block. When the teacher uses instructional strategies to consolidate knowledge, the way the students experience that is that they feel like ideas and new learning are connected and integrated with what they know. And students see all of those things as attributes of a teacher that provide support for their learning. And then when the teacher takes the time to be sure that there's appropriate rigor and challenge for students in activities, the way the students experience that is that they understand that there's an expectation that strong effort, perseverance, and rigor, working beyond what comes easy to them, is expected in that class each and every day. When the teacher is known to be someone who is capable of controlling the behavior in the classroom, the students experience that as a culture of cooperation and where students feel safe and feel supported. So that's that press component of what creates an effective classroom and effective student achievement. So many of you might ask, of these 7 C's, what might be the 2 strongest predictors of value added in terms of student achievement and student growth? I would ask you to kind of think about each of those, take a guess on those, and I have a $20 Subway gift card for the first staff member to email me with the correct 2 7 C's that are most highly correlated with increases in student achievement. For the next portion of our staff meeting, the superintendent has asked that we review his 8 major goals that will embrace our way forward, the way forward that he has outlined in his 100th day speech, which was held for many leaders in Charlotte-Mecklenburg, both at the school level as well as school leaders and community leaders. So that meeting was held and outlined his 8 major goals, and I wanted to go through those with you quickly. And after we talk about each goal, I'll give you just a couple examples of how we might come to understand that or begin to see that goal as an area of focus at our level. So the first goal centers around accelerating academic achievement and closing achievement gaps within subgroups. The way we might see that at our school is an increased focus, as you've already seen evidence of, with participation and performance at each high school with AP enrollment and performance on AP exams, and then average SAT scores and ACT scores. Also, you can expect that you'll increasingly hear a lot of emphasis on helping us to drill down and look at the performance of some of our typically underperforming subgroups. For our schools, as is the case with many schools, our major underperforming subgroups would be EC students and LAP students. In addition, centering around Goal 1, you'll increasingly hear information coming from the superintendent our way about helping students to design personal progress goals or sort of success plans. So they'll come into high school, we'll begin to assess what their aspirations and plans are for post-secondary life and help them to create a 4-year plan and monitor that plan that helps them to reach those goals. And so we'll increasingly be drilling down to create that for all of the students that we serve. The second goal focuses on having an effective teacher in every classroom led with an effective principal in every school. Some of the things that the superintendent talked about in his 100-day speech related to Goal 2, and I quote, he mentions that we need to be sure that all of us are bringing our A game every day, and how important it is to make sure that every classroom offers a highly engaging environment each and every day as a key to that maximum effectiveness. Also, I think we can expect to see an increased focus and support for quality professional development that helps to build staff capacity and helps to ensure that we retain and keep our top performers in our schools. You can expect that we will continue to see a lot of attention and initiative around performance-based systems within our system, and we've already heard a lot about what that's going to look like as far as different types of measures, and certainly it won't be all growth on MSLs and EOCs. We'll be also looking at things like those student surveys, observations, and other indicators of that effectiveness. Another thing that will be a key area of focus for the superintendent around Goal 2 is increasing different avenues or different career paths for top performing teachers who perhaps want to contribute beyond the classroom level, but don't necessarily want to go into administration. So hopefully we'll begin to see a rise of different types of leadership options for our top performing teachers that want to contribute in different ways. So for example, one thing that he mentioned was the creation of peer coaches who might help with at the school level with new teachers or struggling teachers. The third goal speaks to increasing partnerships and wraparound support at all of our schools in Charlotte-Mecklenburg. Some of the ideas around this third goal have to do with mapping out what the assets and the needs are at each school, and then analyzing the existing partnerships at all of the schools and looking at whether or not a school might have partnerships that are being underutilized, and perhaps other schools that have a greater need for existing partnerships might benefit from that partnership support being moved to different schools. So trying to be very conscious about partnerships across all of our schools and making sure that they're need-based partnerships. Also, the superintendent is very committed to looking at that wraparound support that helps to be sure that students who are coming with basic needs not being met, that we can look to community for other types of support. So one thing that was mentioned was possibly bringing in mental health or social workers as a wellness coordinator at each school to help out with students who are having issues that we currently don't have the staff to be able to sufficiently address. Goal 4 focuses on this idea of making sure that all schools have a self-renewing culture. And that means that we need to be sure that we're engaged in continuous improvement, that we have a high engagement type of culture in our schools, that we're customer service oriented, and that we are culturally sensitive to all of the students who we serve. So some of the initiatives that are related to Goal 4 that we can expect to see would be expanded employee recognition systems, a scorecard to evaluate all the different departments that serve at the central office that serve schools, and increase communication from central office and support systems at the school level. Also, an increase in focus of an anti-bullying campaign. So the superintendent is hoping to establish a large system-wide anti-bullying campaign to be sure that the culture and climate at all of our schools allow students to feel free from intimidation and certainly feel safe when they come to school. Another thing that the superintendent, as you may have heard from earlier communication from him, is very committed to is engaging in the critical conversations around cultural competence. You can see that that will begin to start at the district level with executive staff and will eventually move to every schoolhouse level, where we will all be going through diversity and sensitivity training to ensure that all of our practices support the needs and diverse backgrounds of all the students that we serve. Goal 5 focuses on a performance management approach to ensuring that data and evidence-based decisions are made, and that those specific data points and evidence-based decisions drive decisions that are made at the classroom level, at the school level, and at the district level. Some of the things that are tied to that goal that we can expect to see as far as initiatives for our system are an increased evidence-based performance system. So we've already talked about the creation of MSLs or common exams, as well as looking at EVOS data for EOC type classes. The superintendent talked specifically about making sure that we're looking to see evidence of high growth with all types of learners that we serve as an indication of high performance for an individual teacher and for schools as a whole. Also, in addition to that, the student surveys, which will we alluded to earlier, which will center on questions related to the 7 C's, as well as observational data from our current evaluation system. The superintendent is very much in favor of increased autonomy at the school level and at the classroom level for places where evidence and data are showing high performance, and very much wants to give as much freedom and flexibility as can be permitted for folks that are showing that they can consistently create success given the challenges that we meet each day in our school and in our classrooms. Also, many of you may have heard that the state is moving to a report card system where, based on multiple indicators, each school will be given a grade that is based on several different data points related to effectiveness of a school. Also, the superintendent indicated that he will continue to support strategic staffing initiatives. He'll continue to refine some of the current practices that move high-performing leaders and teachers to underperforming schools to give those students the best chance for success. Goal 6 focuses on strengthening and expanding educational choice for all students. As you're aware, we will continue to see a rise in competition for public schools. The state has lifted the limit on the number of charters that can be established each year. We'll continue to see many other K-12 private options continue to rise around us. So it's incumbent upon us to continue to look for ways that each school can define itself in unique and special ways. So the superintendent is very much supporting this notion of helping each school with branding itself, which entails helping us to come to identify our own unique things that make us different from our competitors and help us to make us a viable option against other K-12 options for students and parents. You can expect to see that we will expand lots of different types of options for students, and I think the superintendent recognizes that we need to begin to look differently at different ways that we might be able to best serve the students. So, for example, you might see schools that have specialty CTE options that students from anywhere within a zone might be able to attend classes for specific CTE programs. We, in fact, might even see an increase in specialized schools for students for whom the normal traditional high school doesn't work well for. We might see things like expanded or differentiated hours for students who are needing to work full-time jobs and perhaps might do a blend of virtual classes at home as well as classes at the high school level or at CPCC or other learning institutions. Goal 7 focuses on increased use of technology to impact more effective and more efficient teaching and learning. So some of the things that we'll continue to see at the schoolhouse level are an increased emphasis on using data management tools such as ThinkGate to help ease the burden of grading and give teachers a more real-time opportunity to see what students are able to demonstrate that they master or have not mastered, so that in a more quick and efficient way learning can be modified and additional supports can be put in place to create more success for students. Also things like increasing this wireless environment and a BYOT philosophy within schools. As you know, as we speak right now, Mallard Creek is being upfitted in terms of our wireless environment. In fact, by January 2nd, we will be moving from a total of 52 wireless access points to 188 access points. So we'll find that we have a very fast and effective wireless environment in fact, when we return from the holidays in early January here at our own school. With that comes the expectation that we begin to look at how using smart devices, iPads, and other types of wireless tools can help us to move from sort of the one-size-fits-all, the whole group instruction, to one that more embraces small group instruction, blended and flipped classroom types of approaches to instruction. You can expect to see many of the new curriculum resources that come your way to support what happens in the classroom be more digitized. The idea with that is that students are not limited and teachers are not limited to the resources that might be found within the pages of a textbook for their learning, but instead can go and follow numerous links to the web and other real-time resources to bring more information to the learning process and to create more effective teaching and learning that is relevant in real time to increase 21st century learning. And finally, Goal 8 has a focus of strengthening public trust within CMS. Related to that goal, some of the things that we might expect to see from the superintendent is a greater emphasis on transparency with decision making within the school. This superintendent very much supports the notion of involving all stakeholders with major decisions and being very transparent with our public and our major stakeholders around the parameters that dictate major decisions that affect us and the students that we serve within our schools. Also, you can expect to see that we'll increasingly be embracing social media as a way to communicate events at the school, at the system level, critical information. Another indication of continuing to embrace new and emerging technology would be the fact that with the new Power School program that will go live next fall, things like Parent Assist will be able to be accessed by any smart device from all parents and students. So a student or a parent at any time will be able to bring up on their cell phone what their actual grades are. They'll be able to, if they get locked out of a program, be able to go to an online way of helping them with passwords and getting themselves the support that they need. So those are the 8 major goal areas and some of the things that I think we'll begin to see at the schoolhouse level around our new superintendent, Dr. Heath Morrison's Way Forward initiatives. And now for the reminders section of our staff meeting. We will report to home base first thing tomorrow. It should be just a brief meeting to distribute makeup pictures as well as school report cards. Also, just a reminder that relates specifically to Algebra 1 teachers, but this is kind of a short turnaround in terms of notice, and that is that sometime within that December 10th to the 20th, we will be administering an Algebra 1 benchmark assessment, which will help to inform us as far as the next steps for students who are currently in Algebra 1 this semester. Another reminder that December 20th will be the date that all of the 11th grade senior exit papers need to be turned in to Miss Broom. A few special shout outs for the month of December. First, I'd like to congratulate all of the EC teachers who helped us to make 100% compliance with our December 1 head count. Also, many regular ed teachers were asked to sit in on a host of meetings in preparation for this December 1 head count to be sure that all of our students and IEPs were in compliance. So thank you to all of you who sacrificed a lot of your valuable time to be sure that we were a 100% compliance with our December 1 head count. Congratulations and a special shout out also to Ms. Leisure and Ms. Carr, as well as Ms. Lord, who will be working with our senior and junior class council with a new CMS initiative that is working in partnership with Habitat for Humanity. Basically, the goal is that beginning this year and for the next 2 years after this year, all graduating seniors will participate in raising funds and building a Habitat house within our community as a part of their senior class experience. And so Ms. Leisure and Ms. Carr will be getting a lot of information to you shortly, as well as those executive council and student council grade levels around fundraising things that we're going to be doing, and where this house is going to be, and how you might be able to help and volunteer your time and effort as well to support our Habitat for Humanity house. And finally, our Golden Apple Award for the month of December goes to Lachelle Moore, who is our compliance facilitator for our EC teachers. She's worked many tireless hours here in the last month to ensure that all of the paperwork was submitted and meetings were held to ensure that that compliance happened. She did a lot of behind-the-scenes work and support with our case managers on behalf of the almost 200 EC students that we serve here at Mallard Creek. So thank you and congratulations, Ms. Moore. And I'll close each of my monthly virtual staff meetings with this slide to keep us focused on our big rocks. These are the major things that we started at the beginning of the year as priorities that we identified that we were going to continue to work on and drill down to make them as effective as we possibly could to best serve our students in our building as well as one another. So those big rocks are PLCs, standards-driven instruction, using data, again, in a timely way so that we can figure out quickly where students are falling off with their mastery and quickly turn around and provide extra support, both in class and out of class, to differentiate and provide for the greatest chance for success and growth for all of our students. And lastly, making sure that we're using peak strategies and other best practices to create engaging and fun classrooms for our students to be in each and every day. That concludes our December monthly staff meeting. Thank you for joining me.